Hey y'all, happy Monday. I am so excited again to be here for the My Therapy Cards and Conversation Tour. Come on in. I cannot wait to have this conversation with Les-Leen Wellness. Um, Thank y'all so much. Hey Les-Leen. Hey the Glow Studio. Hey y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. So tonight we're going to be talking about grounding and managing stress. And we're going to be talking to a wellness coach, Les-Leen, who's going to be helping us learn how to actually manage stress, specifically as mothers. And I think that I use this to talk about people who have actual children. And I use this conversation to talk about people who are always birthing ideas, birthing businesses, birthing products, birthing services, birthing kind of all the things, because that still leaves us stressed as well. And many of you know that if you have a business, you still feel like this is my baby. Like I am birthing this thing. I'm taking it from idea to creation into kind of like fulfillment. And that very much feels like you have birthed something. So I think all of us can benefit from this conversation, whether we have a biological child, a physical human child, a fur baby, or ideas, products, services, businesses. So I'm excited to welcome, hey, the Glow Studio. Thank you for my eyebrows. um, so thank you. I'm going to invite Leslie in, or Leslie, you can request to be a part of the live, and then we'll go ahead and get started. For those of you who are coming in, this is My Therapy Cards and Conversations. I'm the creator of My Therapy Cards. I'm a licensed psychologist, and I wanted to have conversations with people around how they begin to incorporate mindset work, habit work, trigger work into the work that they do. Last week we talked to Dr. Nikki, who's a sex confidence coach, and this week we're talking to a wellness coach, and then later this week we're going to be talking to a trust and confidence coach as well. And so we're talking to different people about how they're showing up in their particular niches, how they're doing the work, how they are implementing a lot of the same ideas across different industries. Because one thing that we do, we think many times that it has to be done one way, and it absolutely doesn't. We think that, oh, if you're talking about confidence in one area, you can only talk about it that one way. Or if you're talking about mind, only be within the field of mindset work, and it absolutely doesn't. It can go across many different areas, and that's what I'm hoping to illustrate with the My Therapy Cards and Conversation Tour. And we have Leslie.
Hi,
Hi,
Dr.
how are
Ebony.
you?
I'm good. Can you hear me
Yeah,
okay?
we can hear you
Okay.
fine. Let me know if
Okay.
y'all can't hear her. If y'all can't hear her, then let us know. But it's so good to see you and talk to you.
I'm so excited, and like I just feel so honored that you reached out to me. I
Yeah.
really love what you're doing. So
Yeah, and I love what you're doing. So
thank
Les-Leen is
you.
also a My Therapy Cards affiliate. So if
Mhm.
you're interested in purchasing the cards, I always want y'all to purchase them from the affiliates first. Dr. Nikki was an affiliate. Les-Leen is an affiliate. So go to the link in her bio to purchase
Yes.
the cards tonight if you're going to purchase the My Therapy Cards.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being a part of that program and believing in what we do, because I wholeheartedly believe in what you do, and to have somebody else say, I believe in what you do so much that I want to help you push it.
Yeah.
Like, it is a lot. It is a lot. It is a
Yeah.
lot. I want to help you market it and tell people about it. So I wanted to bring you on because I want people to know what you do. I want people to hear what you do. So can you tell us who Les-Leen is and what she does?
Yeah, so my name is Les-Leen. I'm a mom of two. I have a son who is 3, and I have a daughter who is going to be 2 next month. What Dr. Ebony was saying, though, with business, I'm also a new business owner. At the top of this year, started Les-Leen Does Wellness, which with that, I have a online program where I help stressed out moms who suffer with exhaustion regain their time and energy, which are two things that no matter what kind of mom you are, like,
Right.
Dr. Ebony, you're like fur baby, whatever type, a caregiver,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's something that we all need help with is regaining our time and energy. So I've created an online course, and that's what I've been doing on this Instagram.
Yeah, you do such a good job too of explaining to people and just showing people how to like do a lot of different grounding things. I like that you take us on your page through movement. You
Yes.
take us through kind of like going from mom, like you literally go from mom playroom to Les-Leen Does Wellness
I'm
all
in
in
it now.
one room. All in
You
one room. And I like that you
literally.
keep it so honest. Like, y'all, these are toys over here. And just before I hopped on with my client, there were a bunch of toys over here. And so I'm just going to move those and put those up, and then we're going to get back to wellness. So I like that you're honest in that way and real in that way, because so many people think that things have to be perfect and look a certain way in order to start a business. And you're starting right where you are with a playroom and my space, and this is what I'm going to do. So talk to us a little bit about how you came into this wellness work and kind of like how you began to kind of like decide, oh, I'm going to do this as a business.
Yeah. So I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for almost 8 years now. And being in that, in the healthcare space, I've seen a lot of different things. And particularly over the past 8 years, what stuck out to me a lot is the way that Black women, especially like I've shared, if you follow me, like my mom, she was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes years ago. And I just remember seeing her struggle a lot. And that was the reason I became a registered nurse, and I worked the hospitals, you name it. I've been in every kind of healthcare setting, and I just didn't like, I don't, because I'm still working, but I don't like what I see. Like, I don't feel like me as a registered nurse is serving my people in the best way that I can. So I then, I've been practicing yoga for over a decade, became certified as a yoga instructor December of last year, so almost a year now. And I decided this is how I can help. I can blend my healthcare knowledge and my yoga teacher training to show specifically Black women like how you can move your body, and also the importance of preventative care. That's like something I'm so passionate about, because I've seen in the hospital when you don't care for yourself, like I've seen people at their worst. And there's just so many things that you can do to prevent those things. Not guaranteed, but there are a lot of things.
But you can decrease the likelihood that you would develop. So I like that you, I think we share that too, that we are both kind of like working in the professional world, working in corporate America, have these degrees and licenses in these areas, but have decided to kind of branch off and do something that's going to directly help our folks. So applying the knowledge that you have, and then helping something that you want that can be tangible to help people, that necessarily is not going to happen through hospital systems, organizations, hospitals, agencies, those kinds of things, but being kind of right here disseminating information where your people are, I think is fantastic. And I think we share that, especially as a food relationship strategist, right? So creating a niche where I can actually practice and work with people directly sounds like what you're doing. And how did you decide? I know you said you saw your mom, but how did you decide that, yes, I'm going to tailor and market my business and get this information out specifically to Black mothers who are struggling, who are exhausted? Because that's a real thing. Very real.
Because I am one. So, yes. I am a Black mom, and I've had so many Black mom friends pour into me, and I almost get emotional just thinking about it. But I've had so many Black mom friends pour into me that I just feel like this is it. I know this is my life's work to pour into other Black moms, because I've been fortunate to have that, but it's not like that for everybody. And even going back to what you said about, I hope I'm answering your question. But,
you are.
Okay. Going back to like, showing my playroom, like I'm looking actually, and it's a mess. You guys don't see that. You got the plant. That's all you're going to get. But I just want to show that anybody, but specifically that Black moms, that we deserve, like we really deserve to be well, because that was something else. I was spending time with my mom this past weekend, and she's been in the emergency room before and stuff, and she's like, I just don't like going to the hospital because they ask you all these questions and I feel so uncomfortable. And I know what was under that was she doesn't like to be judged, because she's a Black woman as well. And it made me sad, because I'm like, I don't want more. I don't want Black women to feel that way. Like, sorry, my kids are yelling. I don't want Black women to feel that way. And I want to prevent you from even having to go to the hospital,
Right.
you know? So I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, because I know what it's like to feel uncomfortable. I know what it's like to see my mom feel uncomfortable, but she doesn't, she doesn't have the words, you know, to express all of that. So
yeah, I love that. And so when people come to you, when Black moms come to you, or people who are exhausted because they birthed a baby, they have a baby here they're caring for, they're a caregiver, or they're trying to kind of go from idea to kind of creation, because I do think that that is equally exhausting as well. Not taking anything from Black moms. I think that Black moms are superheroes, like can do all the things. But I still think I find a lot of people exhausted, even people who want to be moms and struggle with infertility and struggle with not being able to kind of have the life that they want. I see it in so many different areas. So when you're working with people, you're working with these Black women, what are you seeing? How are you working with them, and how do you help them work through the exhaustion?
right. So the biggest thing, which is sometimes it could be a struggle, is like having Black moms realize like they need the help. Because a lot of us, I know me included, before I started my own self-care journey, I was too afraid to ask for help because I didn't see my mom do it. Like she did it all, like, you know, my mom and my dad, but they rarely asked for help. So once somebody reaches out to me, like a Black mom reaches out to me and starts talking to me, I first am like, well, thank you, you know, for reaching out to me. Like that means a lot, like, because I know how hard it is to even muster up the courage to be like, I need help, you know, like, and so I just first congratulate them, like, for even reaching out to me, because, and that's something that's why I show Dr. Ebony my playroom, and I show like me just as is, because I want to not come off. I know I'm a relatable person, and I want people to feel comfortable around me, because once you're comfortable around somebody, then the real healing can start, as you know, as a therapist. So
yeah. And so when people are coming to you, are they coming to you because they're asking for help, which is huge? Are they coming to you for techniques around grounding? Are they coming to you for yoga? Are they coming to you for movement? Or do you kind of create a plan for them that will help with whatever issue they're coming in with?
Yeah, so they'll come because they know at first that I'm a yoga teacher, because that I talk about a lot. So like, I just want a sense of peace. You know, that's what a lot of like Black moms specifically will say. So like, I just want, you know, the whew, and I'm like, I want that all the time. And that's why, you know, practicing it every day is important. But I talk with them, and I already have, like I said, I already have the program built out, but I do meet with my clients weekly. So we have coaching calls, and I talk with them about their barriers. So yes, my program is like already a built out thing, but the coaching calls, we work through like, what is it that you're struggling with week 1, week 2, so then I can make it more personalized for them.
And what do you normally see? What are some things that are barriers for us? I know asking for help is a barrier. Doing all the things are barriers. What else is keeping us stuck as Black women? What do you think that is? What do you hear?
The biggest, what's keeping us stuck is not thinking we have enough time.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, that's my main thing, is showing moms that you can create time, like not create, but you can plan your day, of course, like even if things do happen, like my daughter was sick a couple weeks ago, and that does put forks, like that puts makes plans kind of go where you don't want them. And when those things do happen, because that's actually a good example, a couple weeks ago my daughter was sick, I work a full-time job, I'm running this business, and I have to, which goes with your cards, I have to realize my triggers, which is like, oh gosh, my daughter's sick. I do love my daughter, and I love my business. Like, my business is my third kid. And I'm like, and then I have to realize, okay, why am I, and then I have to like catch myself, because it's like a lot of thoughts that happen. But what ends up happening is, a couple weeks ago, I get mad at my kids, but it's like, it's not about them. It's, I'm mad because I didn't make the time to, you know, do my stuff for my business and stuff. So, I hope that answers.
Yeah, that did. And so I wanted this kind of tour to be transparent, and I want to share some things I think that I can share my own experiences. That it's exhausting to run a business. It's exhausting to show up in this space. It's exhausting to market. It's exhausting to continuously create and feel pressure to create. It's exhausting to continuously feel like you have the answer.
Yeah.
That's exhausting. And I imagine that that's what moms feel like, right? Because I'm a pet parent. I'm not a human parent, but I feel like people look to you to have the answer, and I know that that's because I position myself as such, right? But it's still so exhausting to feel like you have to show up and be on. So I can only imagine that it makes me think that that's a barrier that shows up for moms too. It's like having to show up and have the answer because you are responsible for other people's lives. You do have somebody who's looking to you to have the answer, and so you really can't kind of be off some days. So how do you begin to kind of give parents or give moms permission to have off days and to be off and to not have it together or have the answer?
By showing me that, by showing what I do. And that's a really good question. And yeah, oh my God, I don't even know where to begin with that. But I feel like I just use myself as an example. And I know when I'm using myself as an example, I even have friends that are reach out to me that they appreciate what I'm doing. And, I'm, supporting them in supporting them. But with moms, it's more challenging because it is really hard to turn off. And I didn't know that was a term until I became a mom. Because I even talk to my friends, if they watch my kids or something, and I'm like, okay, like I'm still on. So like, because if my kids are around me, like I can't fully relax.
Yeah.
If that's being transparent. So,
yeah. And
so
speak about, can you talk to us about, you can't really relax yet you teach relaxation.
I know. I say, why did I say that?
So, and I'm not saying that you have to have the answer, but how do we relax when we feel like we can't relax? Like people are saying, like, I know that you're speaking to me, like we share a lot of the same experiences and we all experience this pressure to show up, but how do we snag those moments of relaxation to begin to kind of like reset? Because it does constantly feel like you're coming up for air all the time.
Yeah.
Shower crying. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. Well, first, like what I do, which is one of your cards, actually, I picked out a card and I didn't know if you were gonna, but one of the cards that you have, like it's like one of the mindset cards, I believe. It says, if I don't have control, I feel blank. And
I pulled that same one.
You did? Whoa, we're on the same wavelength.
I pulled that same one. Yes. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So the task that you say is, in these situations, where do you feel it in your body? And then you also ask, what else do you notice? So with me, how do I know when to like turn off or take a moment to ground? Is by noticing my body. For me, I'll feel my back kind of like hurts, or I'll feel it in my my jaw, and I notice my teeth are like clenched. Or I hold my breath, which is something that the breath is definitely a game changer for sure. So when I notice in my physical body that, let me just stay with the physical. When I notice that in my physical body that something is like tense, I'm like, okay, I need to, even if I'm like at work, because I work from home, but even if I'm on the computer and I notice that I'm tense in any kind of way, I just like will take a moment and I'll just like, okay, I got to unclench my jaw. And sometimes I even say it out loud. Like I have to talk to myself, which is something that, because I have a therapist, and that's something that she told me. She was like, you need to do self-talk, Les-Leen. And I was like, well, what if my kids hear me? I think I'm crazy. And she was like, it's okay. Like, and I do that now. So if I'm working, or even if my kids, because I'm hearing them right now, being very transparent, my husband is watching them, but I'm hearing them bounce off the walls. I have to tell myself I'm safe, relax.
Ooh.
It's okay. Like the safe one is something I have to say a lot.
And I want to come to that one, Leslie. I want to talk about safety, but I do want to just tell the people who are here who may be finding both of us for the first time. I'm Dr. Ebony, and I'm joined by Les-Leen, owner of Les-Leen Does Wellness, and this is my therapy cards and conversations. And we're talking to different people in their own niche about how they work with their clients to work through some of the issues that have them stuck and how they begin to improve their lives and up their quality of lives. The cards that we're talking about is the cards. They're the cards I created called my therapy cards. And they're a deck that was specifically created for Black women to give us permission to do our work in this mental health space. Also, we have a deck for Black men, Black teens, and we have journals to accompany them. Les-Leen is an affiliate of the My Therapy Card program, and so please patronize her link so that she can get the benefits and perks of being an affiliate. Go to the link in her bio and purchase the cards through there. And so we can go back to the question about safety, because what I feel like happens so much is that we are living in fight, flight, or freeze all the time. We're living in survival mode all the time. And when you said unclench your teeth, I literally had to let my jaw drop because I'm walking around with my teeth clenched all the time. And I'm a teeth grinder. I grind my teeth at night. And so, and I know it's anxiety and stress, right? So I love that you said you have to remind yourself, let your jaw drop. Like, release, relax your face, right? And we don't even think about that because it just becomes our go-to mode of just kind of being until we start to notice the pressures in our jaw. Like, and I noticed. And so what are some things that, well, before we get to that, can you talk about the safety issue a little bit?
Yeah. Well, being a Black woman, we can feel very unsafe all of the time. And so that's something that, like, I've been saying I'm safe recently, because I've before, like, me going down my self journey, I wasn't able to articulate things, not because I was mute or but I just didn't have the words, and a lot of it just went back to me not feeling safe. I still don't really have all the words for that, but I just know that sometimes I don't feel safe, and everything's fine around me. But sometimes it could just be the stress of work, like triggers, like, oh, I have all these things to do for work. Crap, I have to post on my Instagram. Like, crap, you know, the daycare called me. My daughter got a fever. Like, I gotta now leave, like, everything I'm doing and go pick her up and console her. So then I don't feel safe. Like, that's where, like, because everything is like going different directions. So then I have to tell myself, like, I am safe, I am protected, like, you're okay. And like I'll literally, like, how I'm closing my eyes, I close my eyes and then I just sit in my seat if I can. I unclench my jaw and I just sit, and then I take a deep breath through my nose, and then I push it out through my mouth. I do that.
Yeah. I did that with you. I love it. I find myself doing that several times throughout the day and in session 2, where I just kind of like have to breathe and push it out. The reason I like this card so much is, where do you feel it in your body? Because a lot of us don't do enough of body scanning.
Yes.
A lot of us don't do enough of sitting in our bodies. And one of the reasons why, and I'm going to go back to this question that somebody asked, is because as Black people, as Black folks, as people of color in this world, we have experienced so much trauma, so many issues that continues to live in our bodies, even if it's not happening directly to our bodies. It's passed down to us through the people who housed us in their bodies, right? And so there was a question that said, why is this an area that is requiring so much attention right now, especially for Black and Latinx women or Latino women? It's because a lot of us have stored trauma in our bodies that we don't recognize or know, and wonder why we are so dysregulated. And we are continuing to experience trauma daily. I was watching the trial today and just triggered, right? All the things. So we're constantly exposed to traumatic images, traumatic messaging. We're constantly exposed to things that leaves us dysregulated. When you are dysregulated, and the way that trauma impacts the body is it completely disconnects you from here to here. So you'll hear people say Black women kind of like are living from the neck up. a lot of us live in our heads and not in our bodies. And so
Ooh,
the reason this is so important is because trauma comes in and disrupts that, and we got to put the pieces back together and begin to repair that rupture that happened in our body. So we got to do the work to begin to reconnect our bodies where trauma and all the things of our lives have torn that apart. So it's very necessary, because the more regulated we are, the better decisions we can make,
yes.
the better care we can take care of ourselves, the better we show up for ourselves, the better we show up for other people. So there's a lot of us just walking around here not grounded, which is where a lot of a lot of our issues come from. And so if we can ground ourselves, we can teach our children how to ground themselves. If
Yes.
we can manage our stress, we can teach them how to manage their stress, and we can begin to show up in ways that feel very feels like it's coming from a place of more healed
Yes.
or from a more healed place than a reactionary place or a trauma filled place.
You're giving me therapy right now, Dr. Ebony.
This is like, damn, I love talking about the ways that trauma kind of impacts life, because a lot of us just don't know. And I thought that card was so important for us to be able to say, where do you feel that in your body? Because it gives you permission to scan. It gives you permission to say, wait a second, I didn't even know that I clenched my teeth. Or wait a second, I didn't even know that my elbows were to my ears. Yeah, my shoulders.
Yeah.
My shoulders were to my ears. Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, there's something else. When I saw this card today, it reminded me of like my stories, like with anxiety, and why I even sought out a therapist. And one of the things was what you were saying, there's like a disconnect, like in the head and to here. I used to feel like I used to feel out of my body.
Yes.
Like I would, play with my kids outside or whatever, and I wouldn't feel like I was there. And talking with people and stuff like that, and talking with moms, I hear that a lot. Like not that situation in particular where they feel like they're out, but they check out. That's what I'm saying. They check out, and they're just like, well, this is the way it is because I'm a mom now. And that's something actually I just refused that for myself. Like I was like, just because I'm a mom now doesn't mean I can't, like, this body is not mine anymore. Because that's something else. Like once you become a mom and you got the kids breastfeeding, or even if either way, the kids are always on you. And so then you tend to check out, and then you just feel out of your body, and then you're like, I guess this is the norm now. And then it can lead to very detrimental things, like you notice that your panic attacks, or you can have high blood pressure. When you're like this all the time, that will raise your blood pressure. And then over years of that happening, you end up in the hospital. You're like, oh, my chest was hurting. These kids, the kids, but it's just like, that's something I'm really passionate about, because it's like, there are so many things that our bodies tell us. And like, I actually, in my program, I have a body scan meditation, because that's something that I didn't know how to do. Like what you just said, like we didn't learn like how to like check in with our bodies. And so I have that in my program as well. But it's just important to scan your body, because then you'll be able to be like, okay, I guess my shoulders are tense. Let me relax those. Or, for me, it's always my it's always my jaw and my shoulders. And like sometimes here, So.
And the thing that I think is so important to note too is that while we're talking about kind of where it lives in our bodies, sometimes that checking out is a mode for just coping. Like, how do I get some distance here? Excuse me, because I can't do anything about it. How do I get some distance? And so checking back in sounds like what is required and is necessary, and grounding, right? So grounding is the same thing as checking back in. How would you begin to kind of tell us what grounding looks like? What does that look like in practice? For people who are beginning, like what does that look like?
So grounding, it literally is you are connecting to the earth. It doesn't have to be like actually you going outside, but you're grounding in your body. You're like, so what we were talking about, like how I felt like I was out of my physical body, it's coming back into your physical body and being and checking in, like Dr. Ebony said, and asking yourself, you know, even if it's like using one of these cards, because that's something else where I feel like, you know, we hear a lot of information these days. You have to relax. You have to relax. How do you relax? You can take one of Dr. Ebony's cards and ask, you know, read the card, even if you're holding the baby, you know, and bouncing the baby, you know, you take the card and be like, okay, why don't I feel like I have control right now? And then, you know, you could ask yourself that. And then if you're able to put the baby down, put the baby down. And what I like to do, put the baby down, make sure baby's safe. And then, you know, go into your bathroom, turn the lights off, sit on the floor, and just close your eyes. Like, that is something that I have to do at times. Like, I have to turn off, like, the external, you know, senses and things like that. So I think that answered the question.
It does. How many minutes does that require? So when I go in the bathroom and I sit on the floor and I know in a second some little ones are going to come knocking because you don't even get that time to yourself, right? Or your brain comes knocking, right? You're like, your brain comes with all these ideas and you can't just cut it off and be quiet. How many minutes does it take to actually ground?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I suggest 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because I know as a mom, we don't have the time, and even that can be a lot for people. So I say even 2 minutes. My link in bio, I have like easiest morning routine, and it's literally just 2 minutes of me talking you through breathing. And I'm teaching you how to like go through your body, like very like in a 2 minute time frame, because I know as a mom, we don't have the time. Nobody, you know, we don't have the time, but so I show you. So I say start with 2 minutes of sitting in that bathroom, even if it's 1 minute of just being intentional. That's what it really comes to, because people, you know, you could be like, well, I breathed, I took a breath, and you're like, it's like, no, like that's not how you breathe.
But people don't know how to breathe. Can you show us again what a relaxing breath looks like? Because people think that literally we don't know how to breathe. We really don't. And so some people are just learning how to breathe when they engage in therapy. So can you show us what a full breath would look like?
Yeah. So you breathe through both of your nostrils first. So you close your mouth and you breathe through both nostrils. So, and as you're breathing in through your nostrils, allow the air to go back of your throat. Push the air all the way down your throat to your belly, and allow your belly to expand very big. And once your belly expands as big as you're able, I want you to push the breath out through your mouth. Imagine you have a straw. And then that's it.
That is just that feels so good. And like those little 3 breaths feel like heaven. They really do. Like those 3 breaths feel like it feels like an escape, honestly. And that probably gives you an idea how much I stay in my head, but it really does feel really good. But one thing I want to talk about incorporating this stuff into our lives, because I know a lot of things get in the way of people incorporating this stuff into their lives. And the card that I pulled, I don't know if you pulled the same one, but it's a habit card, right? The habit card is what makes it difficult to change or begin to incorporate these changes. And there's examples like fear, family, culture. I've been working with some women lately who have a lot of mom guilt. Guilt around taking time for themselves, guilt around even those 5 minutes where they lock themselves in the bathroom. So that gets in the way of them making this a part of their routine. Could you speak to that, kind of like the change that happens, or the difficult time that people have incorporating these changes, be it because of culture, be it because of family, be it because of expectations?
Mom guilt is very real. I had to work through that a lot. I get it sometimes, but it's not as bad anymore, because my therapist, she's amazing, and she helped me navigate through why I was having that. I know a lot of moms, it's like, I'm going to speak for myself. I know for me, it comes to, like, when I had the mom guilt, it was like, I didn't feel like I was doing enough. But what that came down to was like my childhood stuff, which I'm not going to get into, but it came to my childhood stuff. And then I'm projecting that, like, I have to, you know, do all these things that moms do. You know, and I'm not a typical mom. I'm not. Like, I don't cook. Like, I'm fortunate that my husband cooks. I don't like to do it. And I'm finally at a place to say that. And before, I know that's something like a little trivial, but like, I used to struggle with that because I would feel guilty, like, oh, well, moms are supposed to cook and they're supposed to like to, you know, doing certain things. Like, I love my alone time. Like, it's my jam. And the more I practice and do these things and share with my friends, I'm seeing that my friends are doing these things too and incorporating it in their lives. And it makes me really happy because I know moms, like, we don't see it enough. Like, I see it because I'm around this space, but it's not shown as much as it should. So it's like, where do you even, like, I kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry.
That's okay. I have a follow-up question to that, if that's okay. So you mentioned childhood stuff, right? So on top of like mothers being single mothers and the kind of stress that comes with that, am I hearing you when you say also childhood stuff can the childhood stuff that we have can also be adding to the stress because guilt continues to create this stress in us, right? So I'm feeling stressed because I'm thinking that I have to show up this way, and my not feeling good enoughness that is rooted in my childhood is leading me to feel this guilt that I experience as a mom, which then leads me to say yes to so many things, which then leaves me stressed out. So a lot of the issues that we are experiencing as mothers, even mothers to fur babies or mothers to creative ideas or businesses, we are still kind of held hostage by these thoughts that are rooted deeply in childhood. A lot of the messaging, right?
Yes, for sure. A lot of the messaging, a lot of what you see on TV, like TV, especially like white, I don't even like, you know, but like what you see as a white mom versus a black mom, like being able to live like, I also think when you're saying all that, like being able just to have nice things, like, you know, like as Black women, we don't feel like we can, like we feel like we have to suffer all of the time. And that's something that I just refuse for my life moving forward. And that's like one of the driving factors of me showing up on the Instagram every day, Dr. Ebony, because
I feel you.
I just don't want, I don't want to suffer. And just because I'm a mom, like I don't like when people are like, well, I got 16 years to go. And it's like, so you're gonna suffer for 16 years. You're just gonna be on autopilot for 16 years until, you know, I'm just saying because my daughter's 2. So like when the kid's 18, you're hoping that that's when you're gonna have the time. But
and I think this is Nick. I can't get this right, but I know yoga is in the last.
Oh, Chin yoga. That's
in
my
Chin yoga. Okay, great. Okay, because I was gonna mess that all up. They said that childhood trauma plus parenthood makes me want to run away from home, and it is a struggle when you don't have an outlet. So, what do you say to people who are like, I don't have anything? Let me tell you something. I was in this, because this is relevant. Follow me. I'm in this. My dog started having seizures, so I decided I was going to do the smartest thing in the world and join a Facebook group for people who have dogs with seizures. Why did I do that? Well, there's people in there who say that they don't go on vacation because they have dogs who have seizures and they don't feel like they'll have a good quality of life until their dog passes away. So when I hear you say that parents say, I'm going to thug this out until the child for 16 more years, it feels like I hear the same thing, and I'm like, how? What? What? And maybe that could be because I don't have children, and 2, I am a fur mom, and I don't like. You're gonna struggle though. So you're struggling. I I don't know how to make it make sense in my mind. Your struggling decreases your quality of life, which then decreases your pet's quality of life, which then decreases the people around you quality of life, your children. So how is this supposed to all happen for people who literally really have no outlet and they really don't have a way to get any respite, or they don't have anywhere where they can retreat? How can they still decrease the struggle that they experience, and that it doesn't have to be like that?
Ooh.
That's, well, if I had $1 million in that question.
Right.
I know.
Yeah. Like it just starts with taking 1 minute. I know you said like how much time like in the bathroom, but I'll just say start with 1 minute. If you can take 1 minute every day, set a reminder on your phone, breathe. Like literally just put it, on your phone, breathe. And then at 7 a.m. or whatever, every morning or night, because I know some moms are like, I'm better like at night once the kids are down to do my self-care, just put it in your phone, because we all are looking at our phones. Put it in your phone, 1 minute of breathing. And like I said, you can check out my link in my bio. You click the first link and I have a 2-minute one. So if you want to just break that down and do the first minute of me talking to you, like even if you're just listening to me telling you how to breathe, you're on the right track. And the more, this is something else, the more that you do these kinds of things, like the breathing and stretching, yoga, moving your body in some kind of way, your body loves that. And it's going to want to keep doing it. So it's a habit, which is one of the like other sets of cards that Dr. Ebony has. Once you create this habit, and then say you miss a day or you miss 2 days, you're like, damn, like and you'll literally be like, okay, kids, like watch Coco Melon or whatever. That's all they watch is Coco Melon. But like watch Coco Melon, mommy's gonna like, hide for a minute. Because you have to like, because even with that, the dogs, like, why are you gonna wait? Like, and suffer like as a fur mommy, as a human mom, like why are we, and that's also we need not to like blame other people. You can't do that. Like you can't play victim and be like, well, I guess because I got all these kids. Okay. But then what's going to happen is you're going to continue to have this stress. You're going to end up in the hospital. Who's going to take care of these kids? Because as black moms, we're like, nobody can take better care of our kids than us.
And that's
okay. We love to say that. So I want that for all of us. And so in order to be the best black mom, be the best mom across the board that you can be, you have to at least take a minute every day. Even if you're like, I should breathe. Why am I not doing that? And just talk to yourself. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated.
It is so complicated, and I don't want to. We cannot kind of talk about this without talking about systems that have created this idea that we have to struggle and suffer, and that Black women have to be at the core of that suffering, and that in order to feel righteous or worthwhile or productive in this life, that has to be the prerequisite is struggling. And I rebel against every idea of that, and I don't think that it is necessary. I reject the idea that I have to suffer.
I agree.
And I have to kind of endure that in order to have some quality of life or in order to be righteous. I don't believe in it. And so, but I think that systems have made us believe so. It's woven into our jobs. It's woven into faith. It's woven into spirituality. It's woven into being a woman. It's woven into being a parent. So you hear all these stories like, oh, that's why women struggle that time of the month because of X, Y, and Z. And so y'all just got to deal with it. And so it's almost like this is like struggling is our birthright. And I reject everything associated with that. And I think that as women, people who are birthing babies, birthing, well, not birthing dogs, but parents to dogs, but birthing ideas and businesses, I think we have to reject the idea that we always have to struggle. And when you reject that idea, you give yourself permission to rest. You give yourself permission to actually take a break, be it a minute, be it 2 minutes. You give yourself permission to have a better quality of life and to invite in luxury, invite in kind of like niceness and compassion and gentleness towards yourself, instead of always inviting in struggle, because that's not the life that we have to live. I just literally don't believe in it.
I unsubscribe to Dr. Ebony. That's something.
Yeah.
Even before we hopped on to this live today, when I was thinking about this, I was like, I just because thinking about all the questions, you know, that we were going to talk about, and I was like, the biggest thing that I want, like, I just refuse. Like you just said, I refuse to struggle, and I'm not gonna use my kids as an excuse. Like I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to make. I can't make anybody feel anyway, but I don't want to make my kids feel like that they're the reason that, you know, I ended up in the hospital or whatever. Like, I don't want that. Like, I want to be a mom that is healthy, that's running around with her kids, that enjoys spending time with her kids, that has, you know, great conversations with her kids. And the only way you can do all of those things is if you're right with mind, body, soul, like the whole thing.
That's right.
But you have to ground first.
You have to ground. And grounding, what you've taught us is breathing, releasing your shoulders, kind of allowing yourself to sit and literally connect with the earth and the floor, and really just kind of connecting back to body. People think that when you are starting to connect back to body, you have to do these astronomical things, and you literally don't. You literally are paying attention to your breath gives you some connection back to your body. Being intentional about your breath, being intentional about your thoughts, being intentional about what you feel when you touch the floor or things around you, because you can ground by touching things as well and engaging your senses. You can ground by smelling. You can ground by tasting. You can ground just by engaging your senses, right? All those things. But people think that it has to look this very kind of like I guess very kind of like elaborate way. That's the word I'm looking for, because I think that's what social media does a lot of times. We show all of the elaborate ways to ground, but it literally is just reconnecting.
That's all it is.
It's just reconnecting. So where would you tell people to start, Les-Leen, if they know, like if they don't know they need to do work in this area? Where would you tell them to start? How would they kind of get engaged in this?
Well, the easiest thing is breathing. So like taking a breath, but also you can practice some kind of movement. So one pose that I wanted to share with everybody tonight is you can do child's pose, which is there's different types of yoga, but a big one, especially for Black women, is restorative yoga. It's not fast paced. It's very slow. It's only a few moves. And so you can do child's pose, which you literally just allow your knees to open and let your upper body just melt onto the floor, arms out in front, palms down, and you're in child's pose. You can do that. It's a great restorative pose that you don't need any equipment. Like that's the thing, because when people think yoga, they're like, oh, so I need the strap, I need the blocks, I need to be on my head. Like, no, you can just start. Like, I don't.
Yes, because yoga can be intimidating the way that it has been appropriated, and it can be very intimidating. And
that's one of my main, like, I don't want people to see it as intimidating. That's why, like, one of my most recent poses, like the chair, I titled it chair yoga, but if you look at it, you're literally just putting your hands up, and because I want people that don't take time for themselves, like, I want them to realize, like, it doesn't have to be hard. Like when to ground yourself, to practice some kind of movement. So simply just, bringing your hands up, and then, if you want to bring them to your heart center, you can do things like that. Even I like another grounding technique, because I know you said the senses, of course. Also, I like to just put my hands, like I'll say that in my classes. I'm like, okay, I put your hand on your, like literally on your skin, and I put my hand over my heart, and I close my eyes, and I just feel my heart beating. Like I'll even press it so I can really feel my heart beating. Just doing that. You don't even have to do the deep breathing, but just feeling your own body. That's just like another grounding technique that I like to do, because like you were saying, with all of the trauma as Black women, like we don't, I know me, I still struggle sometimes with even wanting to touch my own self. Yes.
And somebody said we can do this while we work from home. Absolutely. Absolutely. At any moment we can put our hand here. So one thing that I see babies do all the time is put their hand on their chest, and we can learn so much if we just kind of
My
like,
daughter does that.
they put the
She
hand
like,
here.
yeah.
Some people sleep. My grown self with my partner like to sleep with hands on me too, because it's just connecting. It's just connecting. I like for my back to be rubbed. I like touch. I like to kind of be it is connecting, and it's something about touching yourself too. And we don't do this enough. So lately, working with Dr. Nikki and kind of hearing her, I've lately been kind of like even giving myself own touch. And like if you are a touch person, you can touch yourself and reconnect with yourself that way. But a lot of us just we don't have permission to touch ourselves and just to kind of like just do this right, because a lot of us have been so shamed around touching ourselves that we think that it always has to be sexual. Like, why are you rubbing yourself? Like, what are you trying to? We are so shamed around all of that stuff. What we really don't know is that is literally us grounding ourselves, connecting. Babies do this; they feel connected to us, right? And so you absolutely can do that. One of the other questions was, how do you stop the thoughts so that you can begin to change? One thing that I want to just clarify is that you probably won't ever stop the thoughts. One thing that we do is we manage thoughts, we challenge thoughts, we reframe thoughts, we course correct. But to think that you're going to stop a thought probably is not realistic, because your thoughts are going to, your brain is going to do what your brain is going to do, and that's think. And it's always going to go back to what it knows, which is that record that has been playing for over 20, 30 years, right? And so it's always going to play. And so to think that we're going to stop that would set you up to think that you're a failure if you're not doing something right. So it's not that it's going to stop. It's that when it comes on, how do I respond? What do I want to say to it? How do I want to challenge it? What do I want to use as a reframe? How do I want to reshape this? So that's what you do. So Les-Leen, this is so wonderful. And thank y'all so much for being here. So this is my therapy cards and conversations. I am Dr. Ebony, licensed psychologist and creator of these here, my therapy cards. Les-Leen does wellness, has showed us how she uses them in her work, as well as how she does all the wonderful things that she does. Can you please tell people where they can find out how to work with you, how they can enroll in your programs, and just how they can stay in connection with you?
Yeah, so I am at Les-Leen Does Wellness, not Leslie, so Lesline Does Wellness on Instagram. That's where I mainly live. I'm on Facebook also, Les-Leen Pittman. If you click the link in bio, the first thing you'll see is the easiest morning routine. Download that and we'll instantly be connected. Promise. You'll get emails from me, all that great stuff. And then I also have, you can book a call if you're like, yeah, I just want to work with you right now. You can book a discovery call. We can talk and get you started in my program. It's a 12-week program, so it's not a quick band-aid type of thing.
Good.
And we I help you. I give you a roadmap of how to manage your stress, specifically as moms who are stressed out, who are just exhausted beyond belief. So that is what I'm doing, and yeah, that's really
I love it. And Les-Leen is an affiliate for my therapy card, so please go purchase the card from her using the link in her bio, so that she can get the benefits of that. And thank y'all so much for joining us. I was so looking forward to this, and I got exactly what I needed, and I hope folks got what they needed. You are awesome at what you do. Continue to grow and occupy this space. It is definitely needed. We need to continue grounding and be reminded to ground and slow down. And that's the thing I like when I come across your stuff, is that you're reminding me to slow down.
Thank you.
Down and just take a moment. So thank you so much for joining us on this leg of the tour, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Ebony. Bye, everybody.
Thank y'all so much for joining us. You can join us on Wednesday, where we'll be joined by Jason, who will be talking to us about trust and the ways that confidence can help us build more trust in ourselves. So I'll see y'all back here Wednesday. Bye, y'all.